Good morning. Good morning. This is Quandra Gaines from Community Connections, Resources, and Gardening. I would like to give you today we're going to talk about resources, some really great resources that I strongly feel that all people in Baltimore City, Baltimore County, statewide, Howard County, Harford County should take advantage of. I would like to start off by saying Happy National Cheesecake Day. And happy National Father-in-Law Day. Happy Share a Hug Day. My favorite is Happy Paperback Book Day for all the readers. And ironically, today is National Support Public Education Day. Um, Something that I think that as parents, my children are grown now, but as parents or parents who had children within the Baltimore City public school system, that's a big thing because we do have people running for a particular office um, position within the board, hopefully to make great change. So the first thing I would like to talk about are a couple resources. Some you may have seen on the news. One is the Homeowners Assistance Fund. There's two parts to this particular funding. Um, I advocate and I stress the importance of taking advantage of this opportunity because they are actually helping people. Well, this is an opportunity for you to get things done in your home. And I'm going to show you how. So the first one is the $10,000 grant for emergency repairs. I'm going to share the link with you. Um, you can actually fill out the application, and I will be providing that link to you as well. I would advocate that you actually go to the site, take the eligibility test, because you can actually get assistance with your water bill, back mortgages, property taxes, and some other different things. And if you're in trouble, if you're in any kind of you need assistance with mortgages, they do have a um, lender kind of support for you to talk to somebody so that you can get back on track. Uh, the whole home application is a PDF that you can actually go on the site, but I'm going to provide that to you as well. Um, you can actually apply for a lot of things. You have to be affected by COVID. However, everyone was affected by COVID. So this resource has a lot of different opportunities that you can actually take advantage of. One in particular is that $10,000 grant I told you that you can actually get your roof done. You can actually get asbestos removal, mold remediation, all kinds of different things that homeowners do not want to have to tackle. The most important thing of this particular funding, it is providing you education that you can use. Like, what do you do when you meet a contractor? What are the documents they are supposed to provide you with to make sure that you know that they are licensed, that they are compliant with the state in which they're operating, their W-9, and a series of other paperwork that you can actually use. Um, the difference between a jack of all trades and an actual person who is licensed is that they have the paperwork. And if someone that does not have a license does something in your home, you don't have that warranty, you don't have that protection. So I'm going to be providing you with those resources. The next batch of information that I would like to share with you is energy assistance. Energy assistance is a great way um, it's like a gateway to different resources. So one is that it's going to help you with your utility bill. It will provide assistance. It's 4 different grant opportunities that you can take advantage of. I'm going to do a one-on-one kind of show where I will be showing you how to actually fill out the application. I advocate for all people to apply for this service because it can actually help you save on your bill. It is also a gateway to other services such as getting an energy audit, which you can actually get an energy audit through BGE by going to bge.com. You can utilize Civic Works energy programs, and I'll provide you with that information and the links that you can actually do. But you can also utilize services that are available through the state of Maryland, and I will be providing you with that as well. If you already have submitted an application to energy assistance, I will be providing you with the resource on how you can actually check the status of your application. Okay, so we're going to break everything down into chunks. We're going to talk about the whole home application. Now, the whole home application is an application that you can actually apply for a series of things. Electrical work. You just need to find a contractor. There are some resources that you can actually use. They used to use Angie's List, but now it's called Angie. You can actually go to the minority business, the minority contractors. Is there a list of them as well? And then you can go to the general, the big one. There are some contractors that actually do the work who are actually under the umbrella of the state, under the Be Smart program. And you can actually go online and just type in Be Smart program, and it'll actually take you to that site for the state. You can actually talk to one of the representatives, and they will help you with that. The next resource I would like to talk about is I want to provide you with a toolkit. There should always be a toolkit on how you should look at your home as your greatest asset. And when you have the greatest asset, you take care of it. And I'm going to teach you how to utilize resources to do that, whether you have some money or whether you don't have some money. These resources are available. So the first one is an energy audit. An energy audit, it can range from an hour to 4 hours, depending on the size of your home. This way, you would actually have a certified energy auditor who would come into your home, and they would give you a home assessment. They would go up into your attic. They would be able to gauge and see how much installation you have, what type of installation you have, and to see if there's any opportunities for weatherization, which could mean installation. It could mean doing a thermal barrier where you have there should be zones in your home. Your attic should reflect what's going on outside. It should be the same temperature as outside. There should never be a situation where it's 90 degrees outside and it's freezing in your attic. That would reflect something's going on in your home. Or if you have a very hot attic, and then there should be a thermal barrier that's between your attic and your second floor. If there isn't, your house will be hot on the second floor and cold on the first floor. Or your house may just be hot all the way through, which means there is no thermal barrier within your home. Now, if you go through energy programs, it's based off the number of people in your home and your income. Now, we do have a grant that if you fall under that guideline, that service is free. However, if it's over our guidelines, it could be $100. And if you've ever had an energy audit before, it could be $400 and up. I'm going to provide you with that opportunity. If you're interested in solar, rooftop solar, or community solar, We do have one that's market rate, where you actually get a free solar consultation with one of our solar partners. And then from there, you would go through that process. Community solar, you do not have to have panels on your home to take advantage of that opportunity of having solar. You would actually go through one of our partners, and you would have the same effect if you had rooftop solar. However, it would be more like you would be buying into a solar field where you would have your panels in a field, solar panel field, and you would be able to get the amount that would cover your home, like if it was a 3 watt, a 7 watt, or greater, and you would be able to pay through over the internet using our partner Neighborhood Sun or others, and you can actually take advantage of that. I will give you the link for that as well. And I did want to talk about some opportunities that are coming down the pike. One of the things I want to advocate for seniors is to get involved and to get involved through an organization called Maryland Access Point. That organization has a lot of resources for seniors, what I call prime members, senior citizens. I advocate that you take advantage of those resources because let's say you needed transportation, or you wanted to get certain things done in your home, or you wanted to take advantage of accessibility, such as ramps and things of that nature. That would be the organization that you would go to. They are open Monday through Friday. I know they do a lot of calls. Their office, because of the city situation, some people are in the office and some people aren't. But that is a great resource. Another resource that I would advocate for people to actually take advantage of is First Call for Help 211. They have a lot of resources based off of your demographics, your zip code. They can provide you with resources for eviction prevention, utilities, water bills, all kinds of different things, and other things, mental health services, job placement, a lot of different things. So I would advise you to take advantage of a lot of these different resources that you have. Another resource that I have used for some of my clients, when I guess certain services or certain organizations or agencies do not treat them well. And I use constituency services. That's through the mayor's office. And you can actually report that incident. There was a situation where I have a client that I was helping with eviction prevention. And she had the ability, she could use different resources. Like for example, she needed accommodations. There are certain accommodations, reasonable accommodations, special accommodations, and they did not provide it for her. There was one special professional, and I say professional in a sarcastic manner. The lady on the phone, who represents our city of Baltimore, was rather rude to my client, even though I was on the phone. And when she said she could not read because she's losing her sight, the woman was very adamant that that was not her problem. That seemed to be the client's problem. And we were able to get that resolved because we were, like I explained to my client, you'd always write down the person's name you're talking to, because just in case they are not professional, we have access to certain services and resources that we can report that city worker, so that no one else ever takes advantage, goes to that. All right. So the first resource that I'm going to provide to you is for the energy audit. Energy audit. I'm going to share that with you right now. I also would like to give a shout out to Will. This is the first time in a couple weeks that I have not had Will by my side as my mentor and co-host. I hope you feel better, Will. So everyone share a hug to Will and so that he feels better. So the first thing that I shared is the application, the actual link that you can click on, and you can actually schedule. It's a consolidated form. So let's say you wanted to do a quick install, which is a project light bulb appointment, which takes about 45 minutes, or a quick home energy check, which takes about the same time. This is where you can get your free light bulbs, your aerators for your faucets. You can get a shower head handheld, or the regular energy efficiency shower head, and a slew of other things. You can get your water heater pipes racked. These are quick installs, but these are quick energy saving. You should feel the effect. If you do not have your water pipe racked, there's a difference. Like right now, we're having our central air, and it's pumping. So you have your hot and your cold. If they're not racked, that's going to raise the temperature and it's going to raise your bill. So quick install, I would advocate that you take it. And most of the time, those services are free. You actually have an installer who would come in. Now with an energy audit, like I said, a certified auditor who goes through a series of certifications. They're going to come in and they're going to do a true assessment. When you get an assessment, they're going to, like I said, they're going to go in your attic. They're going to go in your basement. They're going to check your vents, your exhaust fans. They're going to check your units. You're going to check your central air unit, your furnace. They're going to check your water heater. They're going to test it. There are instances when when installers and auditors go into home, if you have a water heater on the top and it's clean, you're great. If there are like orange spots on the top, that would tell the auditor that there's spillage. So when your water heater comes on, there's certain things that happen. And they will be able to walk you through that process. But during that time, that auditor is looking to see how energy efficient you are and how much more energy efficient you can be. And then from there, they will generate a report. They will submit that to BGE and some other places, and they will generate a plan of action or work scope. Now, if you fall under our guidelines or our funding guidelines, then that process of being assigned a contractor after all those assessments and things are done, we would pay for the contractor to do the work. However, if you are over, there are some resources and things that you could take advantage of, but you would need to pay for it if you were over income. All right. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, so the telephone number that you can use to schedule for an energy audit is 410-929. You can call me. I'm an energy advisor, 6134, or 410-929-6130. Now, there are some resources that you can also use. What I usually do, if I know that there's a client who is a senior or someone who has a fixed income, I usually leverage the scale. So let's say hypothetically, you're my client and you needed weatherization, you needed your bill, you need assistance with your bill, and you needed a slew of other things, what I would do is I would connect you with energy assistance first. Why? Because with those four areas, there is another question that would say, I would like home energy efficiency products, or I would like those services. The next thing, if your furnace was not working, I would get you to a program called the No Heat, No Cool program, which is a state program, which, like, for instance, during this time, they're dealing with coolness. No coolness, like central air, that kind of stuff, air conditioning, those kind of things. We would put that application in while we're in the process of getting you scheduled for an energy audit. If you needed repairs done in your home, we would utilize the program called the LIGHT program, which is a city program, which is a Department of Housing Community Development program for the city, but there is also one for the state. By going through energy assistance and you applying and qualifying for that service, you would also fall under the guidelines of the LIGHT program. And that telephone number that you can get an application for, I will provide you with that. And that telephone number, I think by my memory, hold on, is 410-396-3023. But I will confirm that. Another one, energy assistance, is 410-396-5555. There are some eviction prevention opportunities you can take advantage of. And they're paying substantially. I mean, back 6 months, a year, 15 months. I had a couple clients that actually were able to take advantage of a lot of these services and now have a solid footing. So that is why I always advocate resources, because it's a help up, not a handout. It's a help up to get you where you need to go. The next thing I would do if you were my client, if you had those resources, we would apply for everything. I always say my motto is apply for everything and let those agencies tell you what you don't qualify for. Another service that I would advocate for is that if you qualify for energy assistance, you qualify for the LIGHT program, I would say you qualify for services through the Department of Housing Social Services, known as the the emergency grant. The emergency grant can be used for a series of things. You need to provide documentation. You can actually go to your local social services. So let's say you needed assistance with your rent. The first thing I would do is I would go to the CAP Center, which is known as the Community Action Centers, that are on Chase Street or York Road or North Avenue. There are so many different places that you can actually apply for the emergency grant. If you needed assistance with your gas and electric bill, I would advocate that you go to energy assistance, and I would advocate that you go to the Fuel Fund of Maryland. You can go through the Fuel Fund of Maryland via their website, which is fuelfundofmaryland.org, and their telephone number. Hold on, let me give that to you. I would advocate that you do that now. That telephone number is 410-235-9080. They do have an actual menu that you can pick. With this service, you definitely would need to pay something on your bill for them to match, for them to be able to help you. If you are in a higher income bracket, let's say hypothetically you do not qualify, you're over income for energy assistance, their guidelines, I would advocate that you go to Fuel Fund because they will help you. You can utilize the Department of Social Services as a resource to help you with your gas and electric bill. Depending on the amount, it can go as high as $800. That's a good chunk that can help you with gas and electric, water bill. You just need to provide those documentation so that they can process that application. So if hypothetically you were coming to me for different services, even for an energy audit, my goal is to get you to a place where you are better off than when you came to me. That could mean calling as your advocate to get you an extension for Baltimore Gas Electric. It could mean advocating you on different levels of government to get you through that door. Another resource that most people kind of put their nose down on, but if you're a family and you're trying to get your footing, I advocate that you go through and you apply for the SNAP. There's benefits on both sides. SNAP is not just only for the nutrition, but if you get SNAP, there are other programs, there are other training programs that you can actually go to school using because you get SNAP grants, that you get food stamps. So to backtrack, one of the goals of this show is to empower the consumer in all kinds of resources, and begin to teach you how to navigate through the city agencies, through the state agencies, and even through the federal government, federal agencies that provide services through to the consumer. As a result of that, I want to teach consumers and residents and community changers how to incorporate your own private toolkit. It could mean how to successfully navigate through tax season, or how to navigate through the Internal Revenue Service, where you may have to talk to a agent or a representative in reference to your taxes. How to navigate through the city of Baltimore or throughout the state with just what you have right now. Excuse me, your income. What documentations you must have. What are the core documents that you must use for every application? Like for the whole home, you're going to have your mortgage statement or your deed. You're going to have to prove your income. All the people that are in your home. So let's say you're the only person in your home that has an income, but you have teenage children. They're going to have to fill out that form, no income form, whether it's the city, whether it's the state, it doesn't matter. Get those documents in a folder. That way, when you're filling out your documents, you have all those resources. They're going to ask you to provide your income. So if you work, you need to start pulling your documentations for 30 days with energy assistance. They're only asking you for income for the last 30 days. And I stress that. Give them the income for the last 30 days. All the extra information is not needed. Sometimes it can be a benefit, and a lot of times it can be an obstacle. Give them what they ask you for. The application in itself, the turnaround time, you need to give them 15 days. So if you were in a pickle as far as beginning to get turned off, my first step would be to get that application in. There are some resources that you can use under the BGE umbrella. You would need to call them at 1-800-685-0123. And you can actually talk to someone. You can actually get an extension. Once you do that, you have access to payment arrangements. You have different different services under the BGE umbrella that you can actually utilize. You can use, if you have a really good payment history, they have additional services under their umbrella that will help you. However, if you're not very good at paying your bills, my first step would be to get to energy assistance as promptly as possible, because there is a 55-day extension that you can utilize. I would advocate that if you do get that 55-day extension, especially when I was doing a lot of case management and social work, I would tell my clients to pay something every week or pay something during that period. So if you got paid every week, I was expecting you to put some money on that account, because what they was a good faith payment. It kind of rebuilds your relationship with that utility company. And then when your 55-day extension is over, you've actually paid a nice chunk on your bill, which means that if you were able to, if we were waiting for energy assistance, you could go to Fuel Fund and get services as well, because you have a active payment history on your bill, which puts you in a greater standing with your utility company. In this case, it would be BG&E. And you would have a solid footing because you would have an active payment history with that company. So if I needed to advocate with you from another angle, you would be providing me with the tools or the things that I would need to get you to the next level. As far as eviction prevention, I do still work with quite a few landlords and clients. One of the things I would say, the first thing you need to do is you need to communicate with your landlord. Because this way, you both can utilize services that they can take care of and that you can take care of. One of the things is to go to the CAP center, because they're going to ask you, have you talked to your landlord? If you have not talked to your landlord, if you do not have a good rapport with your landlord, it's going to make your journey a lot harder. It's going to make your journey a lot harder. A lot of the resources that you do have access to, if your landlord is not willing to sign off on that emergency grant, eviction prevention money, and even a lot of the different eviction prevention programs from the Department of Treasury through the CAP centers, you will lose out. So one of the most important things, I know when I was a renter, you just need to have a good communication with your landlord. There are programs under the city. One is Water for All. And there is a process. You can actually go on the, Children and Family Success, the Mayor's Office of Children and Family Success. And you can actually pull, and it's actually, you can actually fill in everything online. So eviction prevention, anything as far as the energy assistance, that form is there. And you can actually utilize those services right there. They're very, very punctual in calling you, setting you up with appointments. This is the time then you need to be starting to get your eviction prevention, your court notices, any receipts of payment that you've made. All of these things are important because if you ever have to go to court and you have to talk to the judge or prove that you have been making payments, if you don't have receipts, it's almost as if it didn't happen. And one of the things that I always would say to my clients is, your time is just as valuable as everyone else's. So let's maximize that time, get those resources, get that paperwork, because when a person comes to court, I don't care if you're right or you're wrong. If a person comes to court and they come in with receipts where they have paid, where they have a log, where they have communicated with XYZ, where they've gone, commitments that they've gotten from, let's say, Judy over at Franciscan Center, she will give you a letter. If you apply for social services, that process is not as long as most people think. If you were to go into social services at 8 o'clock and provide that documentation, there's a chance that you may actually get that grant check, if not that same day, possibly the next day. The turnaround is very quick. So when you're applying for these agencies, it's very important that you document who you talk to, what time you talk to them, what their telephone numbers is, because when you go, let's say if you came to, if I was working with you, I would ask you, who did you talk to? If you talk to someone from Baltimore Gas and Electric, I am going to ask you for a name. The reason why is because I do have a really great relationship with them. And if they're in any kind of position there, I know how to navigate to get where you need to get my client where they need to go. Another thing is when you talk to a state agency, it's a different change in command now, because a lot of people are working remotely. There are certain things I'm going to ask you to ask. What their name is, because even in my world, I have a Google phone. I have a Google phone extension because I'm working remotely. What is that number? What is their email? What are their times that they want you to call them within? So is it 8 to 12? Is it 10 to 12? What times are they actively taking calls? It's a good chance that if you have gotten all these things together by me advocating, or other agencies advocating or leveraging their funds to help you, that process is going to be a lot smoother. Another thing I would also say is that when you know that there are things going on, I advocate that you reach out to someone. I advocate that you reach out to an agency. I ask that the first thing I would do is that I would call 211. Why? Because that's a safe space. That person is not going to be judgmental. They're going to provide you with those resources. Once you get those resources, I would advise you to, wherever you live, if you live in East Baltimore or West Baltimore, there are some resources. There are some places like Franciscan Center. I advocate for them because I work closely with them. They've been able to assist men and women. Still to this day, even with my energy clients, there are some clients that are homeless and they may be in West Baltimore or East Baltimore. If they're in East Baltimore, I will pick up the phone and I will call Cynthia. I will call Pastor Gary. I will call Candace. I will call Miss Melissa. I will call Ernest. Whoever, whatever. If a person is homeless, and there's any way that I can connect the dots, I will pick up the phone, or I will call Angela. I will call whoever. The reason why is those people are actually in positions within the city and within nonprofit and within, I'll even call my old job, Men and Family Center, because I know that they're going to connect the dots. They're going to meet that person where they are, and they're going to get them where they need to go. So one of the things, the purpose of me even thinking of doing something of this nature is to connect the dots. I was a single mother, so there are a lot of single parents and a lot of families that are struggling right now, or who are suffering in silence. And that can be concerning because those things bottle up. If with job training, job looking for a new job. That's a task right there. And if you are compounded with so many other things hitting you, it can actually stagnate you. Um, I know for myself, I mean, speaking from my own experience, I was able to I was able to people, connect with people with resources, and build relationships with those very people. Um, and as a result, I was able to navigate my clients so that they never felt what I felt, at certain periods of my life, at certain periods as a single mother. If you don't want to have to go to some of these various agencies, because sometimes they're not very pleasant. They can be very judgmental. Um, they can be very nonchalant about crisis. Their interpretation of your situation is not really always placed in the highest regard. Um, so when I did case management, and I still do case management, I don't do it as much as I used to, but I still get those calls out and I take them. I'll get those calls from a judge and say, hey, can you help this young man or can you help this young woman? Of course I can. Um, is it always at the most opportune times? No. But I always look at it like this: it is an opportune time because I was blessed to have some really influential, positive, no nonsense people, um, when I was, and I'm still parenting, but people who were able to help me navigate to get to the places that I need to go. Um, and their support, their honesty, their support. And as a result, I have a village. I have a village that where some are relatives through blood, and then there are so many that aren't, that are family to me. So I want this show, Community Connections, resources in gardening, to be that safe haven, to be that place where we are going to showcase community greatness, um, to celebrate community changers, change agents, people who are actually doing the work but don't need the fame. I mean, they're doing it. Like, for example, um, I remember when I first moved to East Baltimore, because my family, I have family in East Baltimore. I have mostly family in Northwest Baltimore, West Baltimore, Montgomery County, Prince George's County. So Baltimore County. So it was a little different for me. But I loved it because people were honest, brutally honest. Um, and it made me stronger as a person. I want people to understand how important their voice is. I think sometimes, um, in my role, in various roles, um, people are overlooked. And after a while, it becomes a norm. Um, but it was great when I got to create projects and programs and services, and make additions to services based off of my client's need. And as a result, I was able to play a helping, kind of a guiding role in seeing these fantastic individuals and families bloom beyond anything that they could think and anything that I could think of. Many of them have their own job, have jobs. Um, it's phenomenal to see many of the young men, uh, that I called pharmaceutical sales reps, that are now working, to go and see those corners are not populated. because they're working. And they're homeowners. It's wonderful to see clients when I go and I'm going down to social services to help a client, and I'm going into the building and I'm seeing my clients. I'm actually seeing former clients that are security or administration, social workers, administrators, actually doing different things that they never even thought they could do. So I want this show to be to showcase the average Joe, the average Claire, the average Quandra, the average Will, the average whoever, and to access and show the greatness of their journeys, each and everyone's journey. Because I strongly feel and I strongly think that that's how community is built. I think by empowering people with resources and services and opportunities, we can begin to take back major chunks of our city. One in particular, our schools. I'm very passionate about kids. I'm very passionate about education. And I don't think that our children are getting what they deserve. I asked for that list. I actually got the list of the board members, and I'm going to really dive into finding out who these people are. Why is it that they are representing us as a board member? How did they get into that role? And what can we do to persuade, influence, or get to know these people? Because they're making decisions about our children. And I say that because children in my community are my kids too, because they are going to be running the show when I'm older. I, as a mother, as a single mother, I really want to play a huge role in educating single mothers, single fathers of their importance of their involvement in the school system, their importance of their involvement in their community. Because our kids only gravitate to what they see. They're sponges. And if they see mom and dad doing something that's different than the other person, that's their world. So if we as a community or as a community, I don't see it as a neighborhood, because I see when you say neighborhoods, it's a division. What was so impactful for me was that there were people who had never ventured from the west side to the east side, or the east side to the west side, or certain areas or certain neighborhoods. Don't mess with them. Don't do this. I came from a community. We didn't have neighborhoods. We had communities, which gave us much more influence, and it gave us much more power. And our voice was very impactful. So as a kid, I was able to see what organization really was, where grandmothers and aunts and uncles got together with the other uncles or surrogate uncles. And when they went to our council person in the county and said, "We're not pleased with you," they meant that. There were times when they even actually told people, "Don't run again," because we already have someone to fill your spot. I would love Baltimore City to get to that point where we can actually tell people who are not doing their job, actually giving them a report card and telling them, "No, you've had your time. You couldn't do the job. We have this young man who has been impactful in the community, and we think that he can lead us to the next phase. That for me would be a great joy. I think that we as a community, as a city, need to begin to start constructively organizing parents, um, organizing seniors. I think we need to really, really start taking an inventory of what we truly see as assets. Um, for me, it's seniors. They are the cornerstone. They are the gatekeepers. They are the wisdom. They are the history. And what's concerning to me is that their voices are being silenced. For what? Um, their level of importance is lowered, which is insane to me. I think that children are not getting the benefits, are not reaping the opportunities and the rewards that it is to work with senior teachers, senior mentors, senior administrators. It's just to me, it's unreal. I think that we should have hub centers when every neighborhood or every community that is governed by a senior, because they know how to cook. They know how to teach us things that we don't seem to put a value on anymore. It's concerning to me when I see a kid come out of a home and they're wrinkled. They passed by adults who didn't care. Um, the home ec kind of influence that was greatly impactful to my life, of sewing, of gardening, of growing, of birthing new things, came from my grandma, my great grandma, my great aunts, those seniors, those powerful men and women. Um, I hope I'm not rambling, uh, but I really, the concern for me is leadership in Baltimore City. Um, I think they take it for granted. I think that I believe, this is Quandra believing, I think that once a person gets in office, they feel they have arrived. And when they arrive, they don't care. So all those agendas and all those different things that people are saying, we're going to do, we're going to do, we're going to do, and then they get in office and they don't do. What can the community do to make it so that they do? Or what things do we have in place that are actually in the books where they can be removed? I don't know, but I am willing to do the work to see what can be done. Um, it's been a pleasure talking with each and every last one of you. If you would like to be on the show, you can actually go to Black USA, and there is actually a link, and the link is https semicolon colon /bit.ly/33T80YO. I really, really hope that you will I will be posting all of these links onto um, within the show so that you can take advantage of those things. I advocate, one of the things I always say is my home is my refuge. And if a person doesn't want to stay home because of all the different things that are going on in their home, I'm strongly about wellness. Our home is our refuge. If we're not in healthy homes, if we're in dilapidated homes, that's going to pass on to everything that we do. So my goal with this show is to provide you with the resources, provide you with some opportunities, provide you with some really positive and wonderful change agents, young African American men and women who are doing their thing, showcase some impactful people who are actually not just necessarily talking the talk, but actually walking the walk. Get into some really deep conversations about who we are putting in our, who are representing us. Talking about the how valid our primary election was, because it was concerning to me to see how someone who was impactful as state's attorney could lose a race. Makes me wonder what it means to be bought by certain organizations who otherwise do not really care about people of the global majority. Wonder why we hire people who don't live in Baltimore, don't even live in Maryland, for positions. Why don't we hire people within our city, our state, to move our school system forward? Why is it that we don't have? Why is it Baltimore City doesn't have Baltimore Public Schools? Why is it still under the state? Why is our police department considered a state agency? There's so many different questions out here that makes me go, ooh. Why is it that children are not learning about government? Why are so many other people's agendas being put on our children? When our own agendas aren't even validated as parents? How are principals selected to go to schools? Is it a favor move? Is it because I know you and I'm going to put you there so that I can keep my power? Why are so many people so nasty when they're dealing with the public, but they're in public positions? So there's a lot of questions that I'm going to be asking. They're going to be I'm going to showcase a couple authors. So they're going to be coming on. I'm going to be taping today. Why is it imperative that we start looking at being entrepreneurs? Because really, there are some people who should never work for others. And then I'm beginning to think that way for myself. Why is it that we don't seem to have the economic power that we need to push our agenda? And then what is our agenda? Because it seems like we as people of the global majority don't want to work with each other. So it's a lot of different things that cause me to move into the direction of resources, because resources are free. Resources is knowledge, it's educational. It builds people, it brings people together. People are helped, and as a result, they don't have a problem helping others, sharing that information, passing that information, building their communities from the inside out. So we're going to be discussing a lot of different things, and we'll see which way it goes. But I am concerned for my city. I bought a home in Baltimore City. I'm on the outskirts, but at the same time, I love my city. So let's see where this goes. But I just want everyone to sit back who's watching and who will watch this video to understand what their role is. I challenge everyone to begin to think about what their role is, why you don't vote, what would need to be done for you to participate in the primary and the general election, the midterm election. Why are there so many homeless people in the city when we get all this money to help them? Where are the resources going? Are there not enough houses? Why are seniors services? I mean, there's some big news that the department that they're going to have a Department of Aging with the city, but didn't they have a Department of Aging before when Miss Wynn was there? It's concerning to me. I mean, the dynamics of our city government is shambled. What can we do as citizens, or do we really care? So I challenge you. But it's been a great time. This is Quandra Gaines, Community Connections, Resources, and Gardening. Bye.